So I want to welcome everyone. This is the first Real People podcast. So these are real people. We're sitting here having a conversation. We're going to be covering real transactions, real stories. It's going to be authentic. It's going to be genuine. So today I'm super excited. Michelle and I were just talking before we went live. She has over a 30-year career in real estate, right? So Michelle was in real estate 30 years ago, did 5 years licensed, went back to corporate America, and throughout that entire time built up a massive investment network and portfolio and relationships. And you were doing a lot of the things that people write books about, right? And they do different YouTube.
Absolutely.
And so she was living this life.
Yeah.
And then now just got back into real estate. And you've done, I think, a really incredible job of, a lot of agents talk about, like, what's your niche, right? So you go into, some people are listings, some people are first-time home buyers, right? And Michelle's really came across well, I think, with this investment portion. So I want to welcome you officially to the podcast, of course. And I know earlier you were sharing a little bit about your background, of course, but 30 years ago, what originally got you into the space? I know you said you had young kids. Was that the sole driving factor, or what made you one day wake up and say, hey, I'm jumping into this?
Well, actually, I had, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
I had always loved real estate. I was working another job, and I actually fell and hurt my knee.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I fell and hurt my right knee, which still bothers me to this day. But I fell and hurt my knee, so convalescing, I'm like, man, this is the perfect time for me to go to real estate school and get my license. Maybe I don't have to go back.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. So I got my license, and sure enough, by the time I was well enough to go back to work, I had taken the classes, passed the state exam, and got hired at Westgate Realty.
Cool.
And I started as an agent then. And that's when, we had the big books when we had to go through and find, so it was
every
like
Tuesday, I think was the delivery day with the binder. Yeah, right, with it.
Absolutely. And then, we stayed on the phone. That's when we called from the phone book. And so that, and I think I was like one of the top agents within a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what happened was, I was doing that. Then my broker at the time, his name was Mike Fednick, and he was fixing and flipping. So while I'm out there doing all the grunt work, calling people, going on listing appointments and stuff like that, and I saw what he was doing. I said, I want to do what you're doing, Mike. And he was like, sure. He's an older guy, and every time he talks, sure.
Had to look down and everything.
Yeah. It's like, sure. And that's how I got introduced to the investment side of real estate.
Absolutely. And I think you said something interesting there that I want to pause on for everyone out there. You said from that first year, top agent.
Yeah.
One of the top agents.
One of the top agents in
So,
office.
It's interesting as the market shifts a lot. I think this is like a people business, so it's always the same kind of process, right? You add in technology to make it easier, but that connection still stays the same.
So important.
Absolutely. And I think for you, what made you that top agent that first year? Did you just know a ton of people? Were you?
I didn't. I just did what my broker told me to do. You got there early in the morning, you stayed on the phone, you went out in the field. And
so you were cold calling then?
Yeah, straight up cold calling.
Wow.
No warm calls, nothing.
Smile dial the whole way through.
Right, that's it. Don't even. As a matter of fact, this is how we were trained. Well, you don't even. This is when you had to pick up the
absolutely.
Yeah, right. We didn't even put it down. You just had. You put it on your. Yep. You had your phone book, and you put the. I can't even remember what they call it now.
At the top of the phone with the cord, you were
right.
holding it.
Yeah, that. What is that called? But that you put it right here on your shoulder, and you have your phone book, and if they answer, then you go into your spiel. If you're looking for a listing, ask them about have they considered selling, or if they know anyone that was thinking of selling. Don't be calling me. Okay, go on to the next thing. That's what we did.
And so you were right in the fire out of the gate with that then.
Absolutely.
And do you remember how many deals roughly you closed that first year?
I think the first year I might have closed and I think it was even less than a year. I think like maybe about 20 something.
That's incredible.
But that was on both sides too.
Yeah.
Now, when it came to the buy side, I have a lot of family.
So, and I'll pause. Was that 40 total, or you had 10 and 10? You said you had 20 deals, right?
Oh, that was 30 years ago. It was something like that. I think it was, back then I was more of on the buyer side.
Sure.
It's like now I have evolved into being a listing agent.
Right, absolutely.
That's my comfort level. But back then it was more like buyers, especially, we had floor time.
Yeah.
Where you had to be there.
Absolutely.
And during those times, of course, when people walk in, whoever's there,
That's who gets the lead.
Yeah, that's who gets the lead. So that's where I got a lot of my buying clients.
Well, and the reason I pause here too is because for everyone that's watching, I feel like, not to make this come off the wrong way, but think about how like freaking easy we have it nowadays compared to what you're doing before. Because there's a lot of people now who get in. There's like all these natural nerves and anxiety for the people watching now. But to your point, you go in year one, 30 years ago, you go 20 deals. And you're smiling and dialing, and I would say most of that was probably the success. Sure, you get some leads that come in from floor time, but I think it's really your attitude and who you are and your personality, and just kind of minimizing that fear, right?
Yeah, and you can't take it personal.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is when you get rejected, it's not about you. They don't even know you. So I never had that, they're going to reject me. They're going to say no. They're not.
That anxiety that's just building. And,
it was like, no problem. Oh, I got a call, no problem. I like to talk anyway, and sometimes you get talkers, and waste a lot of time on the phone because you still don't get the appointment, but
you have a good conversation in there a little bit.
Conversation, absolutely, and I love people, so it didn't bother me. But it was just staying on the phone, not being afraid of rejection, and I think in the beginning, a lot of the new agents, that's one of the things that keeps them from going all out.
Sure.
Out the gate is because they're afraid of rejection, or I had a mentee recently, and one of the things that she was always concerned about is what if I say the wrong thing? I don't know if I'm saying, I went on all of her appointments with her. Right?
Yeah.
She wanted me to go on her appointments with her because she was so afraid of saying the wrong thing. And one of the things I would tell her is, you're new, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just say whatever. This is training. Don't even worry about getting your first couple of deals. Because it's all practice. In the beginning, it's all practice and just honing your skills, seeing where your strengths are, and once you do that, then you can take it from there. And
no, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, and after a couple of appointments with her, she flourished. She was hitting it like that.
She picked it up. So you were really able to get her out of that fear that was kind of holding her back. It sounds like.
Absolutely. Get out of your head, because sometimes we go in our head, and we make up stories.
Yeah.
To keep us from doing whatever. And I got her out of her head and focus on the person that's in front of you.
And I think that's a good message for everyone out there, regardless what a career they're in. It's sometimes that fear, to your point, makes it a lot worse. And 20 transactions today is in the top 5% of realtors. You're doing this 30 years ago. Year one, you go top 5%. And then, like you said, well, maybe I want to shift the model a little bit, right? Maybe I don't want to be smile and dial, 10 years, 15, 20 years in. So you kind of go over to this investment side, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like that was probably really your first exposure and kind of what set the framework for where your model is today.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. When it came to working with contractors, learning about square footage and seeing a project go from a dump to a little mansion, I loved it. And then you had some investors out there, and not to throw shade on investors, because you have some really good ones, but some of them, they would like to cut corners. And when I would show houses and, once you start working with investors, and especially investors that like to fix and flip, you gain that inspector eye. You know, you can walk in and you can see the quality, or when they cut corners, you can actually see it. The buyer might not see it,
Yeah.
but you can see it.
You kind of have that sonar, like you ever see those movies, you have the submarine, you kind of get the full view of everything.
Absolutely. It's like, So that's one of the things that I fell in love with on the investment side, you know, is getting a project, doing it right. Just because, you know, it's in a low-income neighborhood, it doesn't mean that the home has to look like that. You could still do a quality job and give the new buyer a quality home without breaking a bank.
And I think that's a good lesson, again, because you're dropping all these nice little tidbits. That's why I love having these conversations with folks who've been doing this for so long, because it's like, a lot of times, you know, maybe you or I or anyone else who's out there, we don't realize this. There's all these little foundational nuggets you're kind of dropping on people. And I think what you said there is, you know, just because people might have this, you know, notion of, okay, hey, we're in this area and here's what a home needs to look like. You go above and beyond, and you really listen to someone. Hey, what do you want your home to look like?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me get all these pieces in the groundwork for you. And that's just the natural thing, which leads you over to more referrals. So you had, like you said, 30 years ago, you're coming in, you do an awesome job out of the gate. You go ahead, you go through the investments, and then I think, you know, you were mentioning, we were a little off camera earlier. You made a little bit of a career shift, right?
Absolutely.
And you're having a ton of success, but you did it for your family. So you take a step back. Right, for 25 years, but you're still, you know, kind of engaging in this investment circle. You know, you're still meeting people, you're still building your network, right? You're still doing everything legally, nothing that's out of the compliance of the law. We don't need people out there being like, oh, I can do this deal without being it. No, but what she's doing is she said, hey, one day I want to get back into this, so let me really strengthen my network and just share, you know, my experience in the field, right?
And networking is so important, because even when I was in corporate America, I still loved real estate, and I was still doing real estate activities.
Sure.
I would go to RIA group meetings. You know, just sit there and just mingle and network and talk about, you know, what's going on in the real estate industry. Just stay connected. And as far as building my network, because I had done that, even though I wasn't really in real estate, so to speak.
Yeah, actual practicing realtor, right? You're still looking at investments and stuff for yourself.
Yeah. So when I left corporate America, I had those people to go back to, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing now, you know? This is, and is there a way we can do business together, you know, that kind of stuff. And
so kind of still keeping your ear on the ground for these deals. And seeing these opportunities still happening.
Yeah, so when I left corporate America and got back into doing it full time, because then my kids were grown, you know, they were grown and gone, and it was just me. I didn't even have a dog, so.
You're solo. You're rocking it. You're like empty nester to the extreme for anyone watching. There's probably a lot of people jealous. They're like, I would like to be at that stage.
Totally. Didn't even have a pet. But so it was so easy for me to get back into, because I had built those relationships. And, you know, I can call them and say, look, this is what I'm doing now. You know, what are your needs? And, oh man, you know, if you could find something off market, maybe we could do something together. And as a matter of fact, that's how I met my partners. And we started,
you're good, no worries.
And we started an LLC called Building Foundations LLC. This was like maybe 8 years ago.
Gotcha. So still out of the game as a practice realtor at this point, but heavy on the investment side.
But heavy on the investment side.
Yeah.
So yeah, we bought a couple of 2 flats and 3 flats, fixed them up. We still have them, so.
Cool.
Well, one of them, because we sold the other ones. Yeah.
So ton of fix and flips. We're still honing the tool shed here.
Yeah.
And then one day you look around, you're like, I am living the empty nester dream right now. You're like,
absolutely.
I remember you were going back to school. You said too,
I
as
did.
well.
I did. I always wanted my undergrad degree. So I raised my 2 kids, and I put my daughter through. My son went to the military, and my daughter, she stayed here and went to school.
Sure.
And she graduated and got her undergrad and her master's.
Nice.
Yeah. So after she got her master's, I'm like, I want to go back. This is my daughter, and I'm jealous. I'm like, I want mine too. So I decided to go back, and it was like 2 years. But it was 2 years. I just finished up this April.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
See, you really won because you have the sigh of finishing up there. You're like,
Yes,
thank God
it was
we're out
a
of that.
challenge. It was a challenge because I've been out of school for so long. I started at Roosevelt University, and again, same thing with real estate. I had 2 little ones that I was responsible for, so I had to give school up and focus on them because bringing them up, it's like one of these days. These 2 little ones are going to be adults, and you want to raise good adults, And so I was focused on them. So they used to call me soccer mom.
Oh, so you were
Stalker
deep.
mom. No, not soccer mom. They
Stalker.
called
Okay.
Stalker mom.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard the soccer moms before. The stalker mom. We got a different niche.
Yeah, my kids called me the stalker mom because I stalked them.
So you have a family of branders and marketers too, is what I'm hearing. You're like, hey, I'm gonna get into the investment side. Your kids are like, we're gonna market our mom, we're gonna brand her a stalker mom, and that's how it kind of.
That sounds
it's a
good.
skill
I like
that transcends through the family. So.
Absolutely, they still call me stalker mom. My youngest, she's 37, and she still calls me a stalker.
I'm sure they appreciate the stalking.
Oh yeah, they do. I mean, I was really bad, but I was a single parent. I was really bad with stalking.
Well, and I think that goes too, though. I think to how caring you are as a person, because you even have your grandkids here with us today. That's how in family oriented you are.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, family is everything.
That's the kind of person you are, though. I think it's giving, and I think that's real and authentic. I think that's one of the things too when we look at the success you've had. Because a lot of people know you in the investment world, a lot of people know you in real estate, and I think all throughout the state. And I think it's that genuine person you are of trying to help people.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So when you got back in these last 5 years and you said, okay, I'm gonna take everything I learned from my 25-year career, which is a mix of being a practicing realtor to being in corporate America to being in the investments to being a mom, right? Kind of all these different things. And now you come in and you say, all right, I'm gonna do this. What was kind of your mindset as soon as you came back in? What was there any anxiety? Was there any fear? Because a lot of times with veteran agents getting back into the field, I'll sometimes see that. What's kind of that thought process 5 years ago?
I just wanted to get back into it.
You just want to make
no
it happen.
fears, no fears, no doubts. I just wanted to get back into because I've always loved it. Even when I got my license like 30 years ago, it was like it just seemed to fit. It's like just me, and
it's easy.
Yeah, to me it was easy. I mean, there was no fear. It's just like, even my kids be like, well, Mama, that's what you've always loved. So I had no fears for me. So.
Simple. Same mindset.
Yes,
25 years later.
Absolutely.
And then as this landscape gets easier, what did you realize is, hey, here's the things I need to do every day, right? Because a lot of people talk about morning routine of people who are successful, or I got to do this marketing, or like you said, 30 years ago, I got to make these calls. What was that kind of morning routine like when you began almost rebuilding the business 5 years ago, and what does that look like now? Is it the same? Has it changed?
It changed a little bit because, before 5, 6, 7 years ago, like I said, I've built my network.
Yeah.
So it was real easy. I didn't have to build the business anymore. Like 30 years ago, when you're new to the industry, you have to build your book of business, as they say.
Sure.
So it was easy for me. But what my challenge has been, because I was on the investment side and I have the contacts and everything, so I've kind of been spoiled, and I love listing. That's my niche. Well, not niche, but that's my specialty, I guess you could say.
Where you really hone in on the business.
Yeah. I'm real comfortable in that space. I'm not comfortable on the buyer side, retail. I'm comfortable on the buyer side as far as investors, because I know what they want. I know how to sit down and evaluate a deal, whether it's go or no go.
Sure.
But on the retail side with buyers, that's my weakness. And that, after I joined Real People Realty,
Sure.
and the suggestions and the marketing, it's been crazy. And I think I've had 2 buyers since.
There we go.
Yeah.
2 buyers, Real People Realty.
2 buyers, Real People Realty. When you come on board, just listen to what they say and just do what they do, like I did 30 years ago.
Michelle's so great.
Just do what they say do, and you too can have 2 buyers in 2 months.
And that's incredible. And I think that's interesting to hear you say, because it sounds like you've always had that positive mindset.
Yeah.
You went in and do whatever it takes. And then even now, 30 years later, you're still kind of focusing in on areas of improvement for yourself, right? You're
absolutely.
like, hey, this is something maybe I'm a little uncomfortable with, so I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna attack it.
I think, did I mention that to you before?
You did.
With that,
on our first conversation.
Yeah, because I've been spoiled on the listing side, because my investors, they just give me listings, I don't even have to ask for them. They'll call me. It can be an investor. As a matter of fact, recently I had an investor call me, hey, what do you have? Do you have anything? Are you selling anything? Or,
Sure.
No, I don't have anything. Well, I have something. Can you list this for me? It's that easy for me.
That kind of but I think to your point, though, that's 30 years of work.
Yeah,
you've put into
that is 30 years of work. So a lot of referral business.
Sure.
And that kind of spoiled me. So now I want to do more because I never really had to compete with other agents for listings.
Sure.
Because they were handed to me, real nice ones. And because these are after repaired listings,
They finish the flip, you're the person that's going to sell it.
They're the person, yeah, and they know that I'm a hard worker for my clients. So they know I am definitely we're going to sell this. Some of the investors, they have challenging properties, like in some areas, that's a little bit more of a challenge than other areas, but I sell them.
You make it happen.
Yeah. So they know that I have that kind of work ethic for my listing clients.
Sure.
So, but I do want to get out there and compete with other agents for listings. Is that crazy?
No, it makes sense with your competitive spirit, and I think one of the things too, I was really gonna hone in on, and I think this is important. Let's say we have someone out there, and they're watching, and they're saying, gosh, Michelle, I don't really have 30 years to really get in on a niche, right? I don't have 30 years to set myself apart. What advice would you give to someone that maybe is saying, hey, I'm going to start my business and I want this to be my niche? Or maybe I've spent a long time over here, but now I'm trying to get to listings, because you're someone who's done a great job of reinventing yourself and really honing it. But I guess what advice, what tips would you give to people that are watching for that?
So I think you have to really know yourself. You have to know what space you're comfortable in, because some people are more comfortable with the buyer side. For example, my daughter, she's getting ready to come into the industry. Now she loves taking people out, showing people, she's great at that. And she knows she's great at that.
Yeah.
So when she comes in, when she finally passes the exams, when she comes in, she wants to work with buyers. So I don't think that you have to know coming in, but if you have an idea of your personality, like I said, like my daughter, she always wanted to be a buyer for people, like a personal buyer, where you go out and dress them and stuff like that. So I think if you know what your personality is, then you can have an idea of which side of the industry you want to be on. But you won't know until you actually start doing it. And then as you have, and don't be scared to fail.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to talk to people. Don't be scared to go out on appointments or whatever. And because once you do it, it's all about honing in your skill set, figuring out who you are as an agent. What kind of agent are you? What kind of agent do you want to be? And you won't know until you do it. And it just so happens that, as I was working, I felt more comfortable on the listing side than the buyer side. So I think you just have to just get started. You just have to get started. And if you have an idea of your personality, I think your personality has to fit whatever it is, make it looks more comfortable when you're out there. And
dropping nuggets. People are taking notes. We got over here.
And if once you join an agency and is someone there that you would like to emulate, see if you can shadow that person, because it is so important to have a mentor or somebody that you can fashion yourself after. And what I've learned here at Real People don't mind sharing. They don't mind sharing at all. With the marketing.
Absolutely.
Mimi is very handsome. And then you guys just hired
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yes.
I've had my conversation. Love him. He gave me, because I shared with him what I want to do next. I'm in this space, but I want to go here next. I want to develop this skill set. And it was just so valuable. And this is one of the things that I don't think other agencies were successful with me and giving me, But I found it here at Real People. So it's like, this is my forever home.
Well, I appreciate it, and I think it's awesome to hear from all these different people, right, that we work with, because it's really been a blessing for us being at 950 agents now. But what I really enjoy is this, right, because it's like there's so many cool stories when you talk to people. And that's what I was going to ask you too, because you came off telling everyone, saying, hey, really the authenticity is what's made me successful. Having mentors, not having this fear of failure. So I think that's great for anyone who's rebranding, is making sure that's aligned with who they are. But then that second point you made is, are you you didn't say it verbatim, but it's are you aligned with that right brokerage that's going to help, right?
Absolutely.
And I think you hit on all these great things, which I think everyone and it's very fortunate to say everyone, but we always have this great experience where someone's been here maybe a weekend, 2 weeks, and they're like, gosh, this is awesome, I'm getting this support, I'm getting that. And in our initial meeting, what kind of drew you over here, or what made you say, hey, this is a place that I can take my business to this incredible level? Because I think a lot of people would value your insight, because you've seen a lot of things in 3 decades in this business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is having, I think I mentioned to you, KV Core.
Yeah.
KV Core is so awesome. And I was at another brokerage, I won't mention the name, but it was another brokerage, and their CRM, it wasn't, it was very difficult. So I was paying for KV Core out of my pocket.
I remember that.
I was paying for KV Core out of pocket, and that was like $500 a month, $450, $500 a month. Yeah, that was.
So we're talking $5,000 for systems. You're out of pocket on.
And systems are so important. Yeah. So important. So when I was talking to you, I think I mentioned. I think I asked you if you had heard of KV Core or something.
I remember. I did. Yeah.
I was like, you said, oh yeah, we use it. I am in. So KV Core, and it's huge. That is huge. That is such a great platform, because it's not only a CRM. It's a little bit more. It's a CRM on steroids, so it has everything.
Sure.
And then speaking of you, I knew you. You had the KV Core platform and some of the things that I didn't even know that they had, because I was using it more for a CRM. But then there were other things, and I'm like, okay, he's speaking my language. This is one of the things that I want to do. I want to grow online. I didn't know KV Core was there. So I'm like, okay, so he's in tune with, and then I was telling you how I like to be hands-on, being able to pick up the phone and call somebody, call my managing broker, or and that was there for me here. And I don't feel like I've had it. This is like my third. Yeah, this is like my third brokerage, and this is it for me. I'm not going anyplace else. So that was one of the things, was KB Core, your commitment to your agents.
I appreciate that.
A lot of the extras, because there's more than just one stream of income
Yeah.
here. So that was attractive. That might even have been the
That was a tipping point.
Yeah, that might be the thing that really.
And now for those people who are like, streams of income, what do we have? What do you mind elaborate on that for people? Because there might be some people that don't even realize they get 100% here,
Yeah,
and then we have
100%, and then you have the
revenue sharing.
revenue sharing. Yeah, you're gonna have to help me out with that. So it's the revenue sharing, that, and
I think a lot of the co-branded marketing opportunities we have, and
the title company co-brand. Oh, that is like, that right there is the golden nugget. You know, having the title company as part of the organization, and also helping you to brand and market. I was working with Brian.
thinking of our title sales rep over at Windy City Title.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brian,
Yep.
yeah, Brian helped me put together and also market. It's an area that I want to get into.
Yeah.
And so he and I was talking, and he said, "Oh, I know exactly what you need."
Making a farming list for you.
Yeah,
Easy.
got that, and I'm like, "Oh my God." He actually put the metrics together. For all I had to do was tell him, and see, that's the kind of person I like to be able to say what it is I want.
Then
I'm
happen.
not really a detailed person. I can put it out there. Now, just tell me how to make that. This is what I want. Help me make that happen. You know, and that's what Brian did for me. I said, this is what I want. These are some of the areas I want. And next thing I know, I'm getting this marketing packet.
Making it happen.
Just
And
making it happen.
I think that's the cool part for you. What I'm excited about in this chapter of your career is because you have all these different things now, and you have everything in place. You know, I tell everyone, this is the easiest real estate's ever been. It's the most competitive. But if you're with the right team of people, like you talked about, of ancillaries, it's a full service commitment, because you never just want one person on. You know, you can maybe have a bad experience with an attorney or a title company or an inspector or a lender, and if you don't have your suite of people, that doesn't work. But now
it makes it tougher when
does.
you don't have that. When you have to literally cherry pick and try to put your team together,
It's hard.
because that's so important. Whoever your team is, and it's just so ironic that your team was my team.
I know, it was funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had all these connections.
Yeah, we had all these connections and didn't even know it. So it was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like real people was just calling me in. Come on, girl, this is where you need to.
I appreciate that. So, and I think you absolutely nailed it, knocked it out of the park. I think we had a ton of great gems for everyone who's watching of, you know, your story, right? Because not often you get someone who's had success for 3 whole decades, someone who's branded themselves in a niche, also been able to pivot their career, and you know, someone who's evolved with the times, and I think really has had a wonderful career. So we'll leave them with this. Any other tips, little nuggets we're dropping off to people? Do we have anything else you want to get across to people? I know they're probably just avidly taking notes right now for you.
I would just say, just do it. You know, if you feel that this industry is calling you this way, if you feel any kind of nudge in this direction, just do it. Just like the commercial say, just do it.